guys, welcome back to the channel. On this video we've got a quad rotor going in, like you would have seen just on the thumbnail, going into an R35 GDR Skyline. So gone now is the VR38 twin turbo deal and Glen's decided he wants a quad rotor, turbocharged. It'll run a CDO9 transmission. I think he's got a Winters rear end in it, but my part is the engine, so this video will be about the engine and what's going into it, the assembly of it, and a few little tips and tricks along the way. Okay, so we've got Series 4 turbo rotors going into the engine. Like I mentioned, the engine is going into a drift car. Now these have been tip clearanced and side clearanced. We've got deep groove rotor bearings in them. The engine is not going to be one of these super high RPM engines. We expect this thing to sort of rev around 7,500 to 8,000 at its max. However, it will have an abundance of torque, and that's what he'll need to keep those rear wheels turning. You see the size of the over fenders on it. It has massive wheels under the back of it, so he's going to need all the torque he can to keep them spinning, and that's what we're building this for. So we've got I've already gone ahead and done all the side seals, corner seals are in, springs, all control rings, etc. All the boring stuff, that's done. We've got Pro Seals, Apex seals going into it. We've got our front and rear stationary gears there. The centers are already installed in the plates. Speaking of plates, it's based on Series 5 Turbo 2 plates. So these have got the big dowel on the dowel bosses, all new. So we've got new front, rear and intermediate plates. It is a peripheral port engine, like I mentioned, so we've got our side ports blocked up. Now what I'll do once the engine is assembled is I'll put some urethane in that end, and it doesn't matter what you use, everything shrinks to some point. So what the shrink percentage is here, the urethane will combat that there and keep this from drawing in a vacuum, or if it was a boosted engine, having a boost leak back out through the original side port. Now when we do these engines, one thing that you cannot take for granted is that that hole and that hole are aligned and in the center respectively to each other. So what we do is we clock up all the center bores and we have our dowel alignment to find a true center in these in reference to that compared to the rear plate. Then the machine work's done to install the gear in the intermediate plate for the extra front and rear rotor. Now this engine is studded, even though it is only a naturally aspirated application. With the length of the engine, once you start stacking them and the abuse that it's going to see, we'll take into account everything that we can possibly do to keep the structural integrity of the engine, keeping it in one piece, stop everything from flexing and get it to move in one. So we've got a full 1/2 inch stud kit on all the through bolts, plus we've got our billet sump. The engine will be dry sumped, so we've got a billet sump plate that we make for them. The engine's also mounted off that as well, as you would have seen in the Cosmo in the last video. We've got Series 5 turbo rotor housings, which we've peripheral ported and done the exhaust port as well. Now one thing to keep in mind whenever you're doing one of these short crank engines, whether it be a 3 rotor or 4 rotor, when you do use the late Turbo 2 plates, there is a boss cast into here. It's where the intake port comes in, and there's actually water under there. Now depending on what weight rotors and what front counterweight you use, the counterweight actually hits that. So the thing to keep in mind is to do all that clearancing prior to assembly, because the last thing you want to do is get the grinder out and try and do it when this thing is assembled. Now the first thing we'll do, we won't assemble this engine with the rotors in it. First thing we'll do is do a dry assembly, and that's purely just to check our crank alignment and end float. These are a little bit different to doing your 13B, and we want to make sure all that's right, and so we don't discover any issue as we try to put the last gear in and find that things aren't lining up or it's not turning over. Now if all goes well, I'll put a little bit of light oil on the bearings already. All going well, a little bit of light oil on the Barry, and Barry should slide straight in there. That's it. That alignment is really, really good. You just feel the shaft go down as it locates each bearing, but there's definitely no binding. Turns nice and freely. Ooh, yeah. Now for the alignment test, that's it. We'll pull it back apart now. I'll put the crank in it and go over that. Make sure we don't have any issues there that might arise as I do the final assembly. And since the rotors and everything, like you've seen, they're already done, so it actually makes it a much quicker process to put together when to break it up like this. Alright, that's a little bit on the tight side. So we'll change that spacer. And that phone ringing, that's proof to the friends and family. I don't answer, I'm fucking busy. You have to get your knickers in a knot because I didn't answer the phone. Alright, now that's better. 5-hour vent flute. I'm happy with that. We had 2 before, so it's on the tight side. Now I'm where I want to be. And I can strip this down and start putting rotors in it. And I'll make a dry sump mount, put the dry sump pan on it. It's got a little bit to do, but at least we know that everything's good, spins freely. It's best to check all this stuff before you put the rotors in. Once the rotors are in, obviously there is going to be a little bit of drag when you go to turn stuff. With that, I mean that's still only got the light oil on the stationary gear bearings, so it's not being restricted to turn. It's free. It's got end float. The alignment on that, I'll say nothing's perfect, but that's as good as it's going to get. Okay, so now that's done. The engine's back down, stripped. I've just gone over everything with some brake clean and made sure there's no debris in any holes, galleries, etc. Giving them a good once over so that it is spotless. Any final things that I wanted to do to the housings has been done, so we just cleaned up a little bit of thing, more detail stuff. So we'll set this up on a time lapse and it's time to get it together. Okay, so we're halfway there. As you just see, we turn the engine when we're at this point, because both rotors are actually on gears. We can turn it and we won't have the rotor trying to climb or walk or jam. So we just make sure that it all turns nice and smoothly before we go any further. So yeah, so far so good. You can see here, it's the direct injection hole for the direct injector, which is in there. Alright, we'll carry on. Okay, so the short block's effectively together. Now with the engine being dry sumped, obviously there'll be no internal oil pump. We don't have to worry about running not putting any pressure through the oil gallery here, so we're not worried about it leaking, not sealing. I just used an old 12A gear. Obviously we still need the space for the stack height to set the end float. There'll be no pickup on it with the external oil pump. It'll all be done externally. As the name suggests, it is external oil pump, so it is externally oiled. It'll go to a filter and then come up to, it'll still put oil into the rear plate, but it'll branch off and do the rest of the gears, a tee off here to go to his turbo. Alright, so that is it. That's Glen's 4-rotor wrapped up. So that's going into an R35 GTR, like I said. It's a drift car. The exhaust and intake he will make on the car. The dry sump lines, I'm not sure how much room he has around the steering and stuff like that. We had to, on the sump, on the underside, we had to do a notch to clear something that was on the steering rack in the GTR. But he'll run his lines wherever need be, mount his coils, etc. And yeah, he can get this project underway. Alright, so that is Glen's 4-rotor all done. Let us know what you think in the comments. Was this a good idea, a 4-rotor in an R35 GTR? Personally, I think the VR38's quite a stout power plant. Even coming from a rotor head, I think it's a big call to put a 4-rotor in it for the wow factor. 100% awesome, great idea. But let us know what you think. Would you have put a 4-rotor in there, or would you have put something else completely different? Alright, as again, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.